The top-ranked non-Korean looks to push himself forwards and pursue that spot at the global finals here today, whilst we have 3 Protoss looking to battle it out to claw their way towards the round of 16.
That's right. Snute is going to be the hardest player to take down in today's group. His 2014 performances already have been absolutely incredible so far, and with these results, he's currently playing at his highest level to date. A loss today would be difficult for him to accept. A win today, though, as you mentioned, could see him break through in top 16 worldwide.
That's right. And then we have 3 challengers and contenders remaining in this group with varying degrees of experience on the big stage. We have Bling, Mana, and Kerr attempting to push through for the power of Protoss.
Yeah, it's going to be a really difficult wrestle between these 3 to see who can advance through in second place. Bling had a great display and performance last season, being able to reach the top 16. Man is a player who is simply looking to get back to former heights because he really used to be one of the best Protoss players in Europe. Kerr is a player who is absolutely looking to rain on someone's parade today.
Yes, he is. It's an interesting group, no doubt, Sean, here, with different dynamics that could prove our suspicions correct or potentially make them crumble. Let's take a look at how things are going to be shaping up today.
So, just like every other broadcast day, we have 2 matchups. The winner of those will go up against each other for the first place spot here in Group B, and then the remaining 3 players will fight it off in the lower bracket for the second spot, advancing from today's group. The second matchup will be Mana versus Bling, but first, it's going to be Snute versus Kerr.
Yep, game number 1. This is a tale of David versus Goliath, in essence, as we have a tournament champion going up against our WCS newcomer.
Yeah, you can just look at the stats already. 42 wins and 28 losses within WCS compared to 3 and 4. Snute has nothing to gain by beating Kerr today, but he has absolutely everything to lose, as he's the clear favorite.
Yeah.
Sometimes that does add a bit more pressure, though, to the player that is facing that situation. Kerr needs to enter this fight by gaining an advantage early to further enhance the thought of Snute feeling that pressure before Snute gets too comfortable, because if he does, then he will not be stopped today.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. Snute is the guy that everyone is looking at right now in order to advance on from this group. He is the favorite. He is the clear favorite.
Yeah, ranked 19, as we mentioned. Top 16 enables you to go to the global finals. Snute's had a lot of up and downs throughout his career, but right now, he's definitely on a massive spike upwards. He wants to be that player to go to the global finals like we saw Naniwa do last year. His swarm host style is strategic and it's very well developed. He's put a lot of time into it. I think it's been about 12 months of dedication to improving his specific swarm host style. He's a huge contender today.
And then on the flip side of things, on the other side of the spectrum for this group, we have Kerr. He is a relative unknown. He's the mystery. There's a big question mark above this guy's head right now. He squeaked through in Challenger and is now here in the big leagues, Sean, but can he prove his worth?
Throughout the WCS, just 3 series against Zerg. 1 win, but 2 losses. Doesn't stack up in his favor, really, coming into this one. Because throughout his StarCraft career, he just simply hasn't achieved anything to the same scale as what he's achieved today by being in the Premier League. He makes his debut. He shows us the beauty of the WCS system because he is that player that made it through the Challenger League qualifiers. He is that player that made it into Challenger and broke out of Challenger into the round of 32 today. He now faces Snute, who, I mean, looking at Kerr, he's going to need momentum. He's going to need the mobility of the Protoss style and also the multitasking. He has to do all this while being able to build the ultimate army to stop Snute.
Yeah, and what a map to open us up in game number 1 here. The vetoes have been done. We're going to be opening up on Frost of all maps. And we've seen how Snute has been able to play out on this map time and time again with this swarm host style, depending on the spawning positionings, of course. But he's always looked very, very formidable with those swarm hosts.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be a swarm host game day today, just like we saw on the opening show when we saw Stefano take to the stage. Kerr, though, in this first matchup, definitely has the opportunity to flip the group upside down with an upset here.
Yeah.
But I think as everybody's expecting, it's not going to be easy for him. Snute is a big favorite. But as mentioned, I really think Kerr taking an advantage early on and putting that pressure onto Snute is going to make it not quite as easy for Snute.
Yeah, Snute's here. He is strong. He is powerful. Kerr's got to kind of mix it up. Really kind of bring the power to Snute and see if he can actually advance through it. If he were able to advance through this first series, then minds would explode.
The world opens up for Kerr.
Yeah.
One thing you can look at with Snute, though, is that Kerr can look at Snute and say, this guy is going to be a little bit predictable today. He's going to be playing safe. He's going to be playing cautious because he's the favorite. He will play Swarm Hosts here. I'd be very surprised if he did something different. Maybe Kerr can look for edges in that manner.
All right, game number 1 now on the way here on Frost. Cross spawns of all positions as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner our red Zerg. It is Liquid Snute. And down at the bottom right-hand corner we have our blue Protoss. Representing Alien Invasion, it is Kerr.
Righty-ho. So, Frost, cross positions here. The best possible kind of setup for Kerr to take his series here within the WCS. Because, first of all, it's going to take a lot more of a time for the Swarm Host to go cross-map.
All right, now, and then we have that pile actually going down for Kerr in the main base. So looking to go for something maybe like a gateway expand here. The cross positions as they stand, this is going to be okay for Kerr. And I like the way he's doing this because of, again, how kind of predictably we were anticipating Snute to play, and especially from here, open up, probably just economically.
Yeah, Snute, like I mentioned, is the favorite, which means he'll be looking to guard that. It's his group to lose here, so he's going to be opening up safe. He won't be taking any risks, and what we can imagine seeing from Kerr is the safeguard is off. He's not going to be looking to cover the mistakes he can potentially make. He's going to be looking at exploiting the fact that Snute is going to be looking for all the things that Kerr's up to.
Yeah, and this reflects in exactly the decision-making here from Snute. You know, it's despite it being a 4-player map, he's not opening up like super economically aggressive. He's just going straight for the spawning pool of all things. So, you know, just being a little bit guarded himself in the start.
All right, so what has Kerr got up his sleeve to bring to the table, to bring to the Premier League here today? He's opened up with a gateway expand here, so he's not looked to rush out his expansion, but he will be going so far for a single gas expansion, which, as mentioned, that's just one assimilator being down, but then taking the Nexus shortly. It opens up a world of options once the cybernetics core has completed, which is on its way. You can choose from different tech choices. Will he look to try to finish this early with a gateway attack if he starts to chrono boost into the cyber core from one gas? Does he look to maybe throw down the robotics facility for maybe an immortal attack? Will he look to stop Snute before Snute gets into rhythm with eventual Swarm Hosts?
He could do. I mean, I wouldn't mind too much from Kerr, something like a gateway attack, but it's something that we come back to as we were speaking, you know, before this show happens. Snute's the kind of guy that's so solid, so defensively minded earlier on, so that he can transition onto the later stages of the game where he's so powerful. So if Kerr's going to try something like that, it better be with absolute precision.
And I've been looking at a lot of Snute games recently. He has dropped games versus Protoss players. It's not like he's undefeatable. Yep. It's not like he cannot be stopped. I've seen him be stopped. And players like Thirst, players like San have done so in seemingly easy fashion. Depending on how much effort Kerr went into to study for today's game, there are absolutely available games out there to study from on how to beat Snute's Swarm Host style. Depending on how much research you put in, could also, you know, aid his favor here.
And this is all right for Snute at the very beginning. Getting these lings in and seeing exactly what his opponent's plan is, at least as it starts to develop.
Especially when you are playing cross positions and overlords are nowhere near to get this information for you.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to get them in the right spots, you're right. So, nice little scout here by Snute. Didn't really see any chrono boosts into the cybernetics core or anything, and even, you know, was able to note how much energy is left on that Nexus as well. So, there's not too much availability to chrono boosts into that.
Snute has opened himself up quite well economically, though. He's not playing as safe as he could have because he has taken a pretty fast third base, backed up by Zergling's speed now, and his economy will start to flow depending on how many drones he builds from this point. So it's very important for Snute to get the next piece of information in this game, which is the gateways down, and he hasn't quite got them yet because this opens up aggression from Kerr. 3 gateways could move across to some damage soon. He could also look to take a third soon as well from these 3 gateways, depending on how he wants to play this out. But Snute so far is only building 2 lings and everything else into his economy. Drones and queens.
And the Forge on the way now for Kurt as well. Can happily line this up with a +1 to eventually push out, but it's a little bit later than would have normally been expected. So I'm anticipating maybe a little bit of a lengthier opening here from Curry. He hasn't taken any gases, though, at his natural yet, so not a huge amount of room to start teching. There's a lot of gas banked up, so that could happily go into sentries if he wanted to, and we could see something similar to what Welmu was doing.
Yeah, he's going to take a third base off this, off 2 bases here. He's going to take a pretty fast third, and Snute, 3 Spore Crawlers and 12 Lings. Doesn't know if this is DTs or potential Phoenixes that could randomly fly in, and he's also building a lot of Lings at this point in case he's about to get rushed, because that Stalker was putting a bit of pressure on. He's going to fly into the main base now to find out what he's up against. He doesn't see this third, and it is a little bit of a mistake not to have Lings already on patrol on that third base. Having seen that third base, it would be a lot easier for him to not have built the Roach Warren, to have not built maybe so many Lings, and to have looked to drone further. He's going to try and grab that information now, though.
Yep, those Lings on the way to the third base. They can put on some pressure. The entire force of Kerr is very far out of the way here at the natural. Sat around maybe if they could find some Overlords, but that's not going to be the case.
This is a comfortable position for both players to be in. He shouldn't take too many losses here, Kerr, that is. He has enough units to stop this. He shouldn't lose the third, but likewise, Snute knows that he's not under any threat for the time being. He knows exactly what his opponent's build is. He saw the Forge, he's seen the gases on the natural, he's seen the third and the extra gateways. He knows that he's not going to get attacked anytime right now. He could within the next minute or two, but as you can see, 13 drones. He's ready, man. He's ready to rock and roll. And there is the Infestation Pit, ready for the most famous unit in the game right now.
Yes, it is. So how is Kerr going to build himself around this is the big question.
Well, he's moving out, Claris.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I don't think he can put on a whole lot of pressure.
There's an opportunity to. There is an opportunity to get pressure done and to get damage done. If you think what Snute has, nothing but drones and tech coming in.
He doesn't have vision of anything moving across.
He doesn't see anything, so there's definitely an opportunity here for Kerr to get damage done before Snute is comfortable. Snute is going to be comfortable within the next couple of minutes once he has an army to protect his tech, which is the Infestation Pit and the Hydra Den. He's spotted it now, so now is the time to start adding on those roaches to defend. But there's still a window of opportunity here for Kerr. Not a large one, but he has to act fast. Yeah,
there's a lot of room for those force fields to actually land down here and cut things off if they need to. The units are not there by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, so these could be cut up. The Spore Crawlers are really important to try and zone out the Mothership Core, but at the same time, they're being targeted down and brought down. Good force fields. The drones get pulled off to try and defend this.
He loses the Mothership Core. That's pretty big.
Yeah. And no more energy there to be able to do anything with. Good force fields, though, on the south side to zone stuff out.
This isn't ideal for Kerr. This is not ideal. Losing the Mothership Core, he's losing a lot of units now. He cannot get out of there. And what we're going to see from Snute most likely is just a massive counterattack.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if warping in this to continue this is the right choice here. This could be very difficult with the amount of Hydralisk, Roaches, and Queens that are still in support.
And with the amount of sentries that have died off during all of this as well, it's a big investment that's gone down here from Kerr. That will always take away from his defensive position once that counterattack comes. Drones once again off the line here for Snute. He's down to 53. Still the warp-ins continue, but they're being gunned down before they can even fully warp in.
Yeah, Snute's starting to defend this.
Yeah, the Hydralisks coming along as well. Good transfuses on the Roaches at the front. The last remaining Stalkers are going to be fended off. And with those pylons going down as well, behind that, there's not really any... I mean, he's got Blink and +2 on the way, but the Robo facility has only just gone down to deal with Roach Hydra.
Yeah, this is not the best position for Kerr, but he did kill 20-odd drones in that attack because a lot of was sacrificed to buffer for the Roach and Hydralisk here. Snute is looking to recover, but with the Mothership Core down, which means there's no Photon Overcharge, without continued upgrades here, there is a small opportunity for Snute to capitalize on the fact that Kerr, as you mentioned, isn't really ready to play against Roach Hydra.
Yeah.
Like, he will only have gateway units. He's lost all his sentries. He's lost a lot of his gas because the gas is going into tech and not really units. He only has 3 sentries. But for the time being, Snute's not going to rush things. He's not going to jolt over the other side of the map where a lot of aggressive Zergs would. He's redroning to what he's lost. He's sitting back and, by the looks of it, is trying to slow the pace down.
Yeah, and he's going to be fine with doing that because with what he has set up, it's okay. The attack that we saw Kerr put on kind of felt like something similar to what we were seeing from Wellmu earlier on, but just with a little bit of a lack of sentries, and it wasn't quite as punchy as it needed to be to really get through there. But I underestimated the little window that he had there, because it was there, but I mean, Snute, he's always so good at defending those kinds of things.
Yeah, it was close. Definitely could have, I mean, if Kerr had not waited for a wave or two, could have got in to do a little bit more damage, but Snute is fine. He's going to sit back for now. He's got his Enduring Locust upgrade on the way, with also the Hive here. So the Hive is going to get him up to Vipers, if need be, against potential Colossus attacks and so on, so on, and so on. And we have a single Evolution Chamber from Snute. Usually he does like 2, but he's just feeling 1 for the time being, just getting that upgrade for his Locust, the attack here. But now we need to see the way to play against Swarm Hosts. We need to start seeing these Blink Stalkers used. He needs to use his mobility. There's nothing to stop these Stalkers from blinking around the map. Creep's not huge. So the really key things to stop Swarm Host play. Use your Stalkers, stop that creep, get harassment in while building up the big army behind. He could even look at taking a 4th base, because there's no real way for Snute to be aggressive at this stage of the game. It's all about Kerr. This phase of the game is Kerr, 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 Kerr. And with that Warp Prism, hopefully he can get this done.
Yeah, if he were to do a little bit of damage up to the north, that would be fantastic.
He's going to go for the hatch. He's going to go for the hatch.
It's going to be very close. Those Hydralisks should dish out a lot of damage against this. And those Zealots are going to die off very, very fast. They're not going to get that kill.
No, so that's a bit of a loss there, but he can come back to kill that later on. Another warping inside the main base, but Snute is there. So far, Snute has backed this off. But another key word which I use in the opener is multitasking. Imagine if Stalkers were in the middle of the map clearing that creep up with an Observer while the Warp Prism harassment was going on. It's not as easy. I mean, it's easier said than done, but these are the key kind of moves that Kerr has to use against Snute.
Yeah.
He had a bit of momentum going into this game. He's lost that momentum now, but this is where Snute's comfortable. This is where Snute is not going to mess up.
Yeah, you've got to keep him on his toes. You're right. I mean, the double Robo was scouted out by Snute, so he's just going completely guns-ho and actually has now 4 Vipers out. So he's going to amass a lot of Abducts there to be able to pull those forwards, because he knows now how much of an issue that is going to be with double Colossus production on the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think where Kerr's going to go with this one, because he's really slowed down and is playing one-dimensional for the time being after losing the Warp Prism. He's got +3 attack finish, and he's going to add on Storm, and he's going to take a 4th base here. I wonder when he'll attack. With taking a 4th, it's not going to be anytime soon, and if he did, he would be in a bit of trouble with these Vipers now out. And if not in trouble already, look at this. This is a little bit unexpected here. If you think about it, I mean, Snute really hasn't gotten Swarm Host yet, which is a little bit misleading to Kerr. So this attack is very dangerous. But is he going to read into this properly? Is he going to be like, well, that's a lot of you? Well, now he is going to.
Yeah, that's quite a strong Protoss army that he has behind this. +3 weapons is just about to finish. He would ideally love to have High Templars and Storm with that.
He just needs to sit tight. You just have to keep defending against this style from Snute.
There's a few High Templars sprinkled in
Time
there.
warp.
Oh, a few feedbacks as well. Really nicely done, but he opts for the Blinding Clouds compared to the Abducts. And he's going to continue on with it once again. Another Abduct actually will fly forwards here to catch one of those Colossi out. Second Abduct goes down. The Protoss, though,
this is
not
okay for
too
Kerr.
bad. Yeah. 2 of those Colossi still alive. 1 extra falls, but as the double Robo shapes up, you know, an extra Colossus popping out here and there is really helping out in this fight.
Yeah, this is good. This is a good fight for Kerr. Now he should go take his 4th base, and he's done all right with that fight. Now's the time for the Swarm Hosts.
Yep. They're on their way. 15 to start things off. And with the creep spread through the middle of the map, now breaching the halfway point, it really does give those Swarm Hosts a whole lot more power behind them. And not only that, during those fights, the 4th base was denied. So whilst Kerr would have loved to have transitioned from that fight on 4-base economy, it's not there just yet.
All right, well, Kerr is down to 125 supply there. Did lose a lot in that fight. But he does have his 4th about to be placed down now and will start to increase his economy once again. But Snute's creep spread, which is definitely pushing across the halfway line now, is a problem. It really is a problem here, because these Swarm Hosts are going to have a lot of mobility moving around. As you can see, coming down here, they're going to start spraying from the low Zelnaga tower here and are going to start to try to siege into the kind of court, that side where Kerr is mining from. What is that up north? Zealots. This is a nice move. This may even get the hatch. I think it will get the hatch, looking at where the units are and where they aren't.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he has only 3 roaches, that's his full mobility, right? That's one of the disadvantages of Frost. If you do position yourself so aggressively with the swarm hosts, there's no way in hell that you're actually ever going to get back with your full army to defend that.
Yeah, I think he probably should have went for the hatch kill there rather than the spore and a drone or 2 and now the queens. But
that's why he's on whole position around it, right? Because that's what Snute was anticipating with the drones.
But Kerr's army's nice. It's a decent amount of Colossus, but still, Snute's found himself where he wants to be. This is exactly where he wants to be. He's on the other side of the map, aggressive with his Swarmos. He's not defending against warp prisms or harassment for the time being, and he's forcing the fights. And he's going to drag these Colossus into the Locusts, and they do not last long.
That's extremely cost efficient, but at the same time, actually, nice blink forward there to catch 1 or 2 of those. Blinding Clouds in tandem, though, to shut that firepower down, and you got to be careful of the Locusts again.
But for the time being, as much as this is a pressure for Kerr, he's not losing anything from this point on. He's not having his economy touched, so he can replace what he's losing, as you can see in the production tab. But it's when he loses units which is painful. If he's trading off against Locust, that's okay. Ideally, we would like to see some harassment. He's got to pull Snute back, really. I mean, he's got to pile on up to the top right, which he can try to use.
The Warp Prism being in this army, I wonder if he's waiting for an Abduction and then going to try and pick up a Colossus to save it from Locusts. That might be something in his arsenal here. But again, it's a very, very technical move. It's going to require a lot of control here from Kerr.
Also, what it could also be, a couple of things he could try, is if he bursts down a couple of Locust waves with Storms, runs forward, then gets the Warp Prism out, warps into the fight.
Yeah.
That could also work, but this is starting to become a bit dangerous. The creep is everywhere. Locust will not stop spreading into this location, and Kerr has to break out soon. The problem occurs when his economy gets touched, which it is now, through the Locust. He has to act soon.
Yeah.
And that's a fight that he's not quite ready and prepared to take.
There's a real big timer above his head. He's trying to kind of circumnavigate that timer by sending some zealots once again up to his opponent's 4th base, but with how cost-effective Snute is going to be from here on out, not just economical damage is going to do it. You have to push this away somehow, some way, with a few extra sprinkling of Locusts now moving down to that location as well. He was trying to pick up one of those Colossi with the Warp Prism, but those spores are giving him a hard time as well.
And Snute is just really kind of telling us that his head-to-head stat against Kerr is true.
Yeah.
It's 7 wins and 1 loss in the entire of StarCraft, and he's extending it further with a win here today if he's able to finish this one off. Look at that. The Swarm hosts are here, and they are not being removed anytime soon.
Oh, no.
Because it's the reverse. It's Kerr that's getting pushed back, not Kerr pushing Snute back, which is the problem here. Snute's getting more and more aggressive. He's pushing forward with his Locust. The Queen usage here is fantastic. Right in his face, spreading creep, making this a more dangerous and a much more faster attack, and even splitting the Swarm hosts and Locust here to hit both bases.
And Kerr's had enough of it. He's just going straight around the map. He's going for the full-blown base trade. He feels, oh, actually, he might try and flank the Swarm hosts, but the creep is going to give him intel completely, even if he just wanted to turn around the Locusts and push them that way.
He turns his Locust wave around, moves his Swarm host, readjusts, and can start to use his Vipers in a second.
Sees it, blinks forwards here, realizing that the Swarm hosts are trying to get out, but he doesn't have... he does have one observer with that, and he actually needs Spore Crawlers to be able to hunt that down.
Oh, that's very aggressive.
Yeah, that's not going to work out too well with the Hydralisks and Queens even there.
And remember that the money Snute has banked throughout all of this without losing units. This is a victory there for Snute.
Oh, great grabs as well for Snute, killing off those Colossi. There you go, GG for game number 1. And all you had to do was look at the resources lost at the very end there to see that in the time that Snute lost around 3,000's worth of resources, Kerr had taken 15,000-ish resources worth of losses. So Snute played that out very, very well.
Very good. And the only real opportunity that we saw from Kerr throughout that game was in the early stages when he tried to do that assault, which could have worked but didn't quite work. And now I fear for Kerr because the biggest part of playing against Snute was probably grabbing momentum, because as much as Snute is a favorite coming into this game here against Kerr and coming into the group overall, you've got to be thinking that, I mean, in any sport, in anything you play, even if you're the clear favorite, you're not quite 100% sure what to expect from your opponent. But once you get past a little zone in the early part of whatever you're doing, once you get past that starting point, then you're comfortable for sure, because now you've seen what he can do, and you have now kind of reestablished the thoughts in your mind, yes, I can definitely win this game. And now that's 100% what Snute's saying. This kid is easy for me now.
Yeah, and it was a great map to really start things out on. Snute had full command of that. Overgrowth is going to be our next map here in this best of 3. And again, I don't think it gets any easier for Kerr. I think that Snute can really start controlling this map as he did the previous.
Another thing that you wouldn't really know by watching at home here is that Frost was Kerr's map choice to start this series off, so that was his best opportunity, and then the spawning locations was his best opportunity. Snute couldn't even go into Swarm Host initially because of the way that the maps played out in cross positions. So Kerr got a lot of things to go in his favor, but now Overgrowth is the map that Snute has chosen to split this in half. That's ideally where he'll want to be. So what we'll see from Snute coming into this is defensive play again, making sure that he does not get hit by that sort of timing that could have killed him in the first game, or at least could have crippled him.
Yeah.
Take it to the mid to late game, like we saw Stefano attempt versus Nurcho every single game, and then play where he's most comfortable.
Yeah, I think from game 1, all you have to do is take 3 major scenes. Kerr not being able to execute and do a lot of damage at that third base, the move forwards with Roach Hydras and Vipers, and then, even forcing, despite, the trade being not terrible for Kerr, the big anticipated move there was, I've denied the 4th base. Behind that, my economy is still really good. Now I have my Swarm Host transition. So 3 big moments in that game that really defined exactly how Snute was able to take control. All right, let's go on to game number 2 now, as we load up onto Overgrowth for this map. Snute's 1 game away from advancing onto the winners, as we have, spawning up to the top right-hand corner, our red Zerg representing Team Liquid. It is Snute. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss. It is Alien Invasion's Kerr.
So the reason why Snute has chosen this map as his to start the second map within this series is because Swarm Host style in the mid to late game is incredibly powerful on a map or any map that you can split it in half. So Snute is happy to give his opponent 4 bases because at that stage of the game, he's probably on 5 himself. So if you think about the 4 bases that Kerr has, he's got the bottom left, which is his main. This is his natural, a little bunny hop over towards his 3rd, and then a pocket 4th base in the bottom right-hand side. Snute says, cool, have those bases. Good luck trying to take a 5th. Because the 5th base for a Protoss player is either the gold base to the right-hand side here or on the left-hand side. Both, as you can see on the mini-map, are pretty much central. If Snute is able to get to the later stages of this game, he will control the middle with creep, he will lock down his back bases with static defense, and will set up what we saw on the forward Xel'Naga Tower in the middle on the previous map, on this map as well, and the waves and the punishment will be hard to stop. But look at this. Kerr has decided to open up with a very fast forge here, looking for a potential cannon rush, which is surprising here. It's going to get spotted here, this probe, or it should at least. There's a spawning pool down first anyway, but it looked like Kerr was willing to sacrifice his economy to attempt a bit of a rush here. He's going to have to back off this idea. It's not going to work.
Yeah, there's a little location here because of these pipes that work.
Snute's looking with his drone. He's like, are you? What are you?
I mean, look, he could have thrown down the hatch before, but just a little bit of cautious play.
Yeah, he added on an overload there before the hatchery, so he delayed his hatch to have a look around. But here's the attempt anyway. He's going to try it, and a drone moves down there, and we have a 4 pylon wall off.
That's ambitious. That's very, very ambitious. He's going to bring a lot of drones. I think he may end up drone drilling one of these pylons.
Yes, you are correct. There we go.
And from there, if you drone drill it, it can be a relatively easy defense.
There's also Lings in there now, and they do have the higher damage, so he definitely wants to be trying to break through this. And does Kerr have enough money? Does create another wall here. Oh, no, I guess he doesn't. No, I guess he doesn't.
Nope.
And now things are looking bad, and it looks like Kerr may have let the pressure get to him a little bit here.
That's a massive investment.
Yeah, I mean, this is terrible news. Absolutely terrible. The probe's dead. There's 400 minerals there that is just lost, and all the cancellations on every other structure. A disastrous start here for the Lithuanian.
Yeah, not so great. And again, all of this was, Snute knew going into this series that all he has to do is play defensively early on. Just make sure he doesn't lose out to anything a little bit crazy, a little bit cheeky, and he's defended really well.
This is prime position. Absolutely prime position for Snute. Wonderful position he's in now, because the Nexus is only halfway complete. Snute is able to just do whatever he wants freely now. Take a 3rd base. 674 resources have been lost. Sure, though, we have to keep in consideration, as much as a clean defense that was, Snute was not mining with the drones for a long time in that game, so of course he did lose a bit of mining time, but Snute, in the position he's in, even goes up to take the gold base himself.
Yeah, just capitalize on the lead that you have, and that's the sign of a very strong player, realizing, hey, well, I'm pretty sure after that investment, you're going to be slowed down a whole lot back at home. He even knows how slow down he is with the Overlord actually scouting that out, so pressuring this location is going to be extremely difficult for our Protoss.
Yeah, this is, I mean, at this position now for Kerr, he's made things a lot harder than they should have been in this game. And I have to think along the lines of, he gave it his best against Snute in game 1 on a map that was a little bit more favored to the styles in Kerr's favor, and also the positions that they spawned, and he still couldn't beat Snute. And he was like, all right, you know, I'm just going to try this and try to edge the series 1-1 and then try to beat him in the third one. But with taking that risk in StarCraft, you take a big risk like that to win easy, and it doesn't work, you are severely behind. And what Snute will look to do here is find out what his opponent's doing, and he will be doing it a lot slower than he would do normally, then punish it and counter it. A
lot of drones being transferred over this gold as well to just get as much from that as possible, and he just barely spots that on the very, very edge as it's hatching. So that's actually a little bit lucky there for Kerr that he spotted that gold, because if it was normally building, he wouldn't have spotted that at all.
Yeah, and now you will be feeling even worse than you were before, because you know that you've given your opponent a bit of freedom here, you've given him space and time, and he's chosen to take the gold base, which furthers his income more than a regular base does. Kerr immediately slaps down 2 extra gateways after seeing this, and we may even see more. I'm not sure. It looks like with a pylon on the other side of the map, he may try to pressure a little bit with these 3 gateways, which are finishing up potentially, followed up by an immortal push. If he can get damage done or slow Snute down and then look to kill him off, that could be the angle he's looking to take.
And especially since this probe slid by pretty much undetected. I'm under the impression that Snute didn't see that slipping up to the top left-hand corner, and he won't necessarily be expecting an attack from behind at that gold base. So this is all right for Kerr, all things considered.
Well, let's see how he's going to shape this up. He's chronoboosting into the warp gate research from the cybercore, which has been spotted, which immediately will trigger alarm bells inside Snute's head saying, why is that being chronoboosted, and am I getting hit by a big gateway account? Where are they? Where's the probe? Where's the pylon? What's going on? So we should be seeing units being made here by Snute. If he adds any more drones, I'd be very confused. 5 additional roaches, or 5 starting roaches. And we have the first set of warp-ins to the top left Kalaris.
All right, well, just a few zealots. Immortal's actually being made already.
If he waits for 6 to... I'd say 6. Maybe waiting for 9's too much. 6 zealots, attack the 3rd, attempt for a kill, then follow up with the attack, could work.
Yeah.
If he snipes this 3rd. It's very important to get the snipe on this.
13 roaches in production, though, and
But
there's some already here.
Shouldn't happen, though.
Yeah, those roaches are well poised to defend this, and actually even positions himself on hold position around that Spore Crawler. Maybe he was anticipating something like Dark Templars as a transition, hidden somewhere. Whatever the case, he's going to clean it up. There's so many roaches here to be able to push that back.
Well, he hasn't seen the robotics facility, so he's not sure exactly what he's playing against yet. He just knows that his opponent just threw a lot of minerals at him, and he's clearly got gas somewhere, but he doesn't really know what it is yet. But Snute knows this is 2 bases as a Protoss player, and at the 10-minute mark here, there's been 6 zealots thrown at him, which were clearly an attempt to slow him down. There is absolutely a follow-up attack happening. He doesn't know what it is, but he just knows that he needs a bunch of units, and a lot of them out now. No drones will be made from this point, only units, and hopefully, well, I say that, and he builds 4 drones. That is very courageous of him. But he absolutely needs to start getting ready for this defense.
Yeah, especially since he's blocking off this expansion as well. So he's effectively limiting his opponent to only do an extra attack. And there we go. There's the big wave of Lings on the way.
And the Roach spots the Immortal, so he knows he's facing an Immortal attack now. So it's going to be a little bit harder for him to attack it directly. Obviously, there's a lot of sentries. There's a Mothership core. Snute will need to use his numbers as an advantage. He doesn't have the firepower to hit this and stop this directly, I don't think. He would need a surround, a counterattack, anything.
I think the surrounded might be what he's going for in this like open area in the middle.
Ideally, you'd want to do it on creep, though. So
that's true.
Because obviously on creep, you get the speed advantage. You want to get an easier wraparound. But he does need a wrap around this army.
He's going to try it. Oh, he gets right on top of those sentries. They have to pull back instantly. And a few roaches from the back as well. A great move there by Snute.
And Team Liquid fans can high-five each other because that was a moral victory, forcing your opponent to recall there. Snute's even going up towards the Hive. He'll be looking to get Vipers out to Blinding Cloud this attack. It'll just simply stop it.
Yeah.
You can even drag the Immortals out of the main force and put them into the Roach Hydra army and kill them then. Whatever the case, Kerr is just falling further and further behind. The Overlord that spots that pylon and probe is like, yeah, try to take that third.
It's an even bigger victory in Snute's mind.
It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Totally defeated right now mentally as he has to retreat to plan C in essence. I mean, there's a Robo Bay behind this as well for Kerr to try and get some Colossi out where he can against this. But Snute's maxed out with that Hive now about to finish up. So very, very scary times ahead for Kerr.
So no Swarm Host in this game, most likely. You'll see Snute go for the finishing move now. So if you think back to Mortal Kombat or anything, you've got your opponent there just kind of waddling in the wind, and you've just got to finish him off. And that's what Snute's going for here. With the Hive finishing up, Vipers will be made. He'll drag out the big units. He'll Blinding Cloud maybe some of the rest, and will just kill the army off. He's got 200 supply. The Hive is finishing up. If it doesn't work, sure, we may see Swarmos later on, but this move should be a killer. It absolutely should be a killer.
Yeah, those 3 Vipers now coming out as well. Just to solidify this spot, I think, did he get intel that there was the Robobay? No, he didn't, but it's, again, for the Blinding Cloud,
it's a given.
Anything he wants to do with it is going to be strong.
Yeah, the smoothest transition from Kerr from going for an Immortal attack is to take a third and to go up to Colossus. He's already got that tech choice, so Snute's kind of anticipating a lot of these moves.
Yeah, this third in essence right now is just fake.
Yeah,
like I mean, what are you gonna?
I mean, is he gonna throw this down or what? If he's gonna go for an attack, it's
so late. Oh.
If he attacks into an attack. If he takes a third, he's gonna have to defend an attack. Whatever the case, Snute is going to attack here. We have double evolution chambers as well for Snute, which are in the middle of the map to charge up his Vipers, but he also has 2 back at home for his upgrades as well. But the Vipers should be almost ready. And Kerr's throwing it all into army. I mean, he's not throwing that third down. It's just army, 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 army.
I think it's his best shot. I don't see how a third and transitioning on against this kind of play is going to work out.
Well,
look how far the creep is.
Whatever decision he takes is hard to pull off.
Yeah. Breaking down those rocks as well to start the onslaught from either side. That probe moves out to try and throw that pylon and sees how far this creep has gotten. That's scary.
Yeah, to give credit to him, he is up at 170 supply, which is a nice army size, as you can see on screen. But whether he can power through Snute is another test.
And we could see a few abducts. Actually, a full Blinding Cloud and a lot of that. One abduct does go forwards, actually dealing with any force fields that would have been added on in that section. And this position isn't that amazing for Snute, but he just has sheer numbers on his side.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 23 more roaches on the way.
Yeah, and he can just run back for now. Gather a little bit energy once again.
Yeah, that's a small Zerg technique there. Fight on the furthest part of creep. It gives you more time to reinforce. Obviously, if you'd taken the fight here, he wouldn't have had these extra seconds, and he's able to go in again. Yeah,
trying to engage where he can there. That's one abduct, and it will bring down that Colossus. Second one, will he even go for it? There we go. Brings that forwards. More roaches, the reinforcing ones, wrapping around to this right-hand side, bring down one of the Colossi, and it's just an absolute slaughter here as Liquid Snute advances on to the winners match.
Yes, he does. In convincing fashion there, 2-0, and extends his winning lead over Kerr, 8 victories to 1 loss. So congratulations there to Snute. And I think that if there were any doubters on Snute's behalf today, I think no more.
Yeah, that was a strong performance from him. And considering that there's 2 Protoss left in this group to kind of rival him in that winners match, I think he's got a pretty good shot.
Yeah, 3 Protoss now. We're going to have to try and figure out who's going to, maybe beat Snute or try to figure out who's going to go through in second.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, though, as our second match of the day. Join us after the break when we shall have our PvP series between Bling and Mana.